Well, good evening, everyone. It's evening here. Wonder what time it is over there. Oh, I have a favorite book of mine. I'm a Kate DiCamillo fan through and through. I love everything she does, and I love what she's done with this Piglet named Mercy. So, if you know the Mercy series, the Mercy Watson series, um, this is how it. I guess it's his origin story, how it really all happened from the very beginning, how Mercy ended up on Deckwood Drive. So this is that story. And it is written by Kate DiCamillo, illustrated by Chris Van Dusen. And he's an incredible illustrator as well. So it is a Candlewick Press story, published by Candlewick Press. So I'm reading it with their permission. Here we go. For all you readers who welcomed Mercy into your hearts. Oh, that's so many of us, right? So she's dedicating it to us. And then Chris Van Dusen is dedicating it to Sylvie to read to Oliver. I don't know who Sylvie is, but I can use my imagination. A piglet named Mercy. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson lived in a house on Deckwood Drive. Deckwood Drive was an ordinary street in an ordinary town. Looks like quite the quaint house. I don't see many houses like that anymore. And Mr. and Mrs. Watson were ordinary people who did ordinary things in ordinary ways. So very ordinary. He is trimming the bushes out in his front yard. She is cleaning house, vacuuming, wearing a lovely apron. I love aprons. And he is washing a fancy old-fashioned car. Wowzers. So very ordinary things, nothing extraordinary. One day, Mrs. Watson said to Mr. Watson, I wonder if we aren't just the tiniest bit too predictable. Predictable? Us? Said Mr. Watson. Surely not. It's just that sometimes I wish something different would happen, said Mrs. Watson. Things are just fine as they are, said Mr. Watson. And if you look out the window, there's some people here walking down the street, and they're part of a different story. She's so smart. He's so smart. Both of them are so smart. This is a character in one of the other stories. This little boy right here is the character in one of the future stories of Mercy Watson. So there's little clues all over the place. So predictable means you kind of know what they're going to do. You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. So is that true about them? I don't know. But then something different did happen. Now this says Molson's Pig Transport. So Mrs. or Mr. Molson, they transport pigs in this really cool truck. And look what happened. Blew a tire. And what happened here? A pig fell out. There's even a sign that says, caution, pigs. Oh, I have a pig story. Oh my gosh, I have a pig story. Oh, maybe one day I'll meet you and I can tell you my pig story. Oh, and look at I never noticed this, the license plate. It says oink. So there, I'll bet you that's Mercy. What do you think? Oh my goodness, I hope he doesn't fall on his head. It's getting good. Someone very small and not at all ordinary found her way to the Watson's house on Deckwood Drive. I've been saying him the whole time. That's right, Mercy's a girl. And look, she must have fallen out right here. There's all the other pigs. Goodbye, pigs. And she went to the nearest place. She saw the light, and she is moseying her way down the lawn to their house. Mr. Watson made the discovery when he opened the door for the morning paper. Mrs. Watson, come see. Oh, the little dear, said Mrs. Watson. Oink, said the piglet. I think she's hungry, said Mr. Watson. And look what Mr. Watson is eating. So if you are a Mercy Watson fan, you know what this is. Oh, one of my favorite foods in the whole wide world. And look at little Mercy. Those eyes. Looks frightened to me. Is that a pig? Said Eugenia Lincoln. That's my voice I made up for Eugenia, because I know her from all the other Mercy Watson stories. Eugenia Lincoln lived next door, and she did not approve of surprises or pigs. So she's probably like a very ordinary person, very predictable. It is, said Mrs. Watson. Can you believe our luck? Don't be ridiculous, said Eugenia Lincoln. A pig is not lucky at all. I love this little house and the perfect little hedges. And there's Mercy. Oh my goodness, this woman. She looks cranky, doesn't she? But I like her. Do you think perhaps the piglet would like a bottle of warm milk? Said Baby Lincoln. Baby was Eugenia's younger sister, and she was fond of surprises and piglets. Mr. Watson scratched his head. A bottle of milk? I don't know. This is all so unpredictable. Leave it to me, said Baby Lincoln. Oink, said the piglet again. Baby's one of my favorite characters, too. I could say that about so many characters in Mercy Watson. I love what Kate DiCamillo did. Love the shadow right here, too. Mrs. Watson picked up the piglet and took her inside. She wrapped her in a blanket. Have you ever seen anyone so darling? She said. Never, said Mr. Watson. So sweet. Their eyes have met. Their eyes have locked. Mr. Watson is wearing a very predictable robe and pajamas. Here's the warm milk, said Baby Lincoln. I have it right here. Eugenia said, this is absurd. So Eugenia and Baby Lincoln are just total opposites, which is very useful in a story. You'll find lots of characters who are very opposite. The piglet did not think it was absurd at all. She drank the entire bottle. Oh my goodness, that is so beautiful. And then she burped and oinked and went looking for more. Yes, baby pigs need a lot of food. They're growing very, very fast. Oh my goodness, said Mr. Watson. Watch out, said Eugenia. She seems to like toast very much, said Baby. Oh, the darling, darling thing, said Mrs. Watson. I don't think Mercy can do anything wrong in Mrs. Watson's eyes. And of course, look at Eugenia. And Baby's having a great time. I like the action lines. Bounce, 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 leap. Oh, and what is she going after? We're going to find out. Mr. Watson, said Mrs. Watson, perhaps you would like to hold her for a bit. Certainly, said Mr. Watson. He took the piglet in his arms. He rocked her. He hummed. How extraordinary, said Mr. Watson. She's a porcine wonder. And she's got her buttered toast. I love buttered toast. They're all falling in love. Now that's what I usually do. When I'm holding a baby, I just start to rock. And I hum. This piglet is a wish come true, said Mrs. Watson. What a mercy she is, said Baby. There you go, said Mr. Watson. We will call her Mercy. She is not a mercy. She is a pig. Oink, oink, said the piglet. You cannot name a pig Mercy, shouted Eugenia. Ooh, this is upsetting her so much. But they did name her Mercy. She was entirely unpredictable. She was not at all ordinary. And she was very, very loved. The end. And that's how it all started. Oh my gosh, this book could have gone on and on. I would have loved it. So there's the butter. There's the toast. And she's part of the family now. Maybe I'll read some of the Mercy Watson books someday. But if you haven't read them, I suggest you read them. Oh, they're fantastic. I enjoyed this so much. I hope you did too. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.